right, so there's really no need to do an actual intro for this episode because we've already been talking about what episode 5 was going to be. It's just a reaction episode. So with no further ado, let's just jump right into it, bro. What you got? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so as most of you know, JD came across this interesting fucking evil human being who we did a 4-part episode on. And during the 4-part episode, you know, I didn't do much of the talking because, like I said, it was his story. But coming across it, I was just like, in my mind, I was so shocked. Like, where the fuck did you come up with this guy? How'd you find this fucking guy, dude? Because, I mean, this dude is just a very cynical, evil. He's disgusting. I just, it's no other words to really put into it, you know? But I mean, his upbringing, just the way his life started was already out the gate, just fucked up. His family was fucked up, you know, born to a 14-year-old chick, got pregnant by a 19-year-old dude in a cemetery, might I add.
Of all the fucking places.
All places. So,
holy shit.
So out the gate, he probably was possessed from somebody in the cemetery, some spirits, you know. And then after she birthed him, she decides she doesn't want him. So her idea, you know, being 14 and probably dumb, she was going to throw him in a pile of mud. And that was going to get rid of her situation, which didn't work.
And then not just that she didn't want her, but her mom or her grandma basically gave her no options and said, hey, you either do something with this baby or you don't come home either.
Don't get me wrong. I felt like that forced her hand to do that. She probably felt like no way out, but you made your bed, you lie in it. Yeah, so this dude goes on to become a fucking serial killer, if you don't know already by now. You know, starts committing murders at 30. And throughout this story, I just try to understand like what caused him. And there's really nothing to really pinpoint what made him desire that. He's just a fucking freak, dude. Like he gets off at strangling women, you know. I tried to figure out if it was the sexual assault from his uncle that happened when he was younger, or even from his mother, because she sexually assaulted him too. Like I said,
yeah, but hers was like later on after he'd already been killing bitches. Right.
And then he was married for a period of time where he kind of wasn't doing nothing. And then, this fucking guy, I don't know, dog. It's a trip, you know. And the craziest thing is he went all over the United States. I mean, what? Like 10? No, they have about 10 states.
I mean, I think his record said that he had gotten arrested in like 24 different states.
So he committed murders and
he was almost 50% states to get arrested in. Like, goddamn.
So he committed murders in Florida, Ohio, Massachusetts, Maryland, Louisiana, Nebraska, Arizona, Georgia, Texas, Montana, Illinois, Missouri, Mississippi, South Carolina, and California.
And here in Nevada.
And there's probably more that wasn't covered because, remember, he has confirmed 60 plus murders under his belt. He said he's done 90 plus. And just to put a little perspective in it, Ted Bundy, which is one of the worst serial killers, has a confirmed killed
30.
Yeah, 33, I believe.
Gacy was 33, Bundy was 30.
See?
And he got both of them beat.
Both of them.
He was tied with Gacy in like the first 10 years that he started killing.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking
and
insane.
I mean his little Robin, what was that bitch name?
Aurelia Jean Dorsey.
Fucking Jean. That bitch. You goddamn Batman and Robin. That bitch just went around with him just for the fun of it. Just like, fuck it. Sick. It's no words for this shit. It doesn't even add up. Like even her part in it. Like so he strangles a bitch and then throw her at the side of the road and then she's just like, Daddy, I'ma clean up after you. Like what? It's crazy.
Yeah, she kind of reminds me of like you know how you see like whales and sharks where they got the sucker fishes that kind of like leech off of them and kind of clean them. It's like a symbiotic relationship, kind of like that they have.
It's like their
she would,
survival is based on your survival, kind of like I'm nothing without you.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like it's said throughout the story, she was getting trinkets, right? Like goods, like things that she could take from him and go sell them, make money off of, things like that. So I mean, it was an awkward relationship, but it was one that fucking worked for them. You know what I mean? Like,
who do you think worse, them two or Bonnie and Clyde?
Obviously, these two, because these motherfuckers was killing motherfuckers just to kill them. Like, well, she was not killing. Bonnie and Clyde, they weren't doing it just because they wanted to kill. They were doing it because they wanted to get money.
Yeah,
these two were just killing because he was just like, I'm horny.
I get
like he got off on the shit. Like that's weird.
Laid off of choking a bitch to death.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, at some points he was doing 2 a days.
Yeah, and it's nasty. And you asked me, you asked me a little while ago, where I found him.
Yeah,
like this story to bring up.
I mean, most of you probably can contest to this. We believe this is the vilest, evilest serial killer ever, with his murder count. And there's not a movie, a TV show. There's nothing on this dude. So that's why I was curious, like, well, where the fuck you find him?
And I said this before, like Netflix. Yeah, you guys like doing stories like this, man. Let's do a real Netflix movie out of this bitch. So
I'm gonna be acting him out. Yeah, die.
Well, remember we did the Narborough murders?
Yeah.
And that was the first time that
they used the DNA.
The DNA mapping was used to convict somebody.
Right.
This was found because when we did that story, and I was like, well, that's the first one ever. It made me think, all right, well, what was the first one ever here in the U.S.? So that's when I started Googling it and looking at it and just kind of doing some research, and that's where I came across this, and I was like, fucking 93?
Yeah.
How the fuck? And I was like, tell me, all right. I was like, all right, cool. 93, what white ass crazy looking motherfucker did this? And then I find out he was black. I was like, God damn.
He said, oh, damn.
All right. Well, that ended that.
Right.
No, it's definitely shocking. It's definitely disgusting.
I ain't gonna lie. My racist brain thought the same thing too, though, when you told me.
And you know what's funny too is like I've watched other people who have done videos about him.
Yeah.
And then when they're like midway reading theirs, and then they find out he's black too, and they're like, what the fuck? Yeah. Now my whole perspective just kind of changed. Because normally when you think of like serial killers and fucking like snipers and shit in the bell tower, like you normally think, oh, okay, some crazy white dude off his fucking rocker that lost his fucking mind.
Comb over, blue eyes, glasses. Talk like, proper.
Yeah. They're losing their shit. And again, because you've also had at this point, you had your Ted Bundys, you had your Gacy.
Yeah.
So you're already like getting that kind of vision in your mind that, oh, okay, it's just some crazy white dude off his rocker.
Like probably the ideal picture of a serial killer in America would be,
look at Ted Bundy. That's your Ted ideal Bundy, one.
Or what was the other? Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, you know, that's your, when you hear that, that's what you see in your mind. It's like, oh, Jeffrey Dahmer, you know? But yeah, not in this case. This guy, he shocked us and he let me down. What the fuck, bro?
How did he let you down? Let's hear that.
Because his black ass out here just killing. Just killing. For no reason. I'm sure a lot of these women were beautiful, nice people, even though they worked as prostitutes or whatever the case is. You know, but he was pretty smart too. I got to say that. He was pretty smart because he said that he went after the people who was pretty much undesirable, who would not be noticed, who he could kill and dump off at the side of the road. Like, he didn't put any effort in getting rid of bodies. He just was like,
he went for
bust and
prostitutes.
Yeah.
Alcoholics or drug addicts,
crazy
or
women.
Mentally ill.
Yeah. And what happened? Most of the cases where he ended up just tossing them to the side of the road and the bodies were found, what they do? Cops decided.
Dismiss it.
The cops decided, oh, well, she was already a crackhead, so she probably died from crack. They didn't even really further investigate. You know?
Yeah, like how many times, like even the coroners then were shit.
It was the old school age.
I get it. DNA wasn't a fucking thing, but like when they find somebody who you could tell physically has gotten their fucking face beat in, and then you're gonna turn around and say, "Oh, they OD'd and this happened because of hyperthermia." Like, no. There's a difference between hyperthermia and just someone getting their fucking face beat in. Like,
But that's because they judged. So they judged the deceased,
right,
and they
right.
knew that. Oh, I'm just throwing a name out. Don't get offense, fucking creepers. You soft ass pillow pet mother. Nah.
Oh my god,
Nah,
focus,
but-
baby, focus. Come on.
They look like, oh, Tiffany. Like, oh, I've been dealing with this bitch for years. She's a fucking crackhead prostitute. She probably did somebody wrong. So, oh, well, we're not even going to invest a lot of time in trying to figure out what really happened because they assumed. They jumped to conclusion and figured because of her career decisions that's what got her killed.
And that especially happened in a lot of the big cities, like LA,
Yeah.
stuff like that, where
LA,
it was a
San
big
Diego.
normal fucking thing, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna fucking."
Yeah.
But again, later on down the road, then that's when that task force was created, and that's when they started looking at some of these old cases, and we're like, "Hold on, how the fuck did we not figure this shit
Yeah.
out?" So, I mean, everything happens for a reason.
It does. It does.
Part of it was for them to realize, hey, maybe just because these people live this certain lifestyle, we shouldn't have treated them any less.
I just don't understand how someone so evil could have a guardian angel. Because I know this motherfucker had a guardian angel. How many times he got away?
Yeah.
Right there. Go to trial, you get a hung jury? How? What? You beat a bitch up in the back of your car and you get caught red-handed by the cops, and you're like, oh, she didn't want to give me what I paid for, and you get away with it? I can't. Like, what? This dude.
The justice system lets us down in many fucking ways. History has shown us that.
Yeah, man.
You just gotta hope that something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I feel like it can never happen like that again. I don't think we could ever get a serial killer. There's too much technology everywhere. There's too much cameras everywhere. Like, I don't feel like that's a possibility again, unless you go to like some podunk country somewhere, some other country where like they don't have that kind of shit, and then you just go from like village to village slashing motherfuckers up. Like, I don't think it's a possibility.
Even then, some villages like that, I think they would, after it happens a few times, they would call on a better state. Like, they'll either call on Europe, call on us to bring the FBI to assist them. So, yeah, that's just not happening. So it's crazy because if you think about it, serial killers became big around the early 70s, right? Around the time this fucker kind of started, right? And the other thing that was also big was bank robbery.
Right.
Nowadays, you ain't getting away with being a serial killer or a bank robber. Like you said, too much technology. Every fucking street light has a camera and a license plate reader. Your phone tracks wherever you go. Everything has a camera in it. So yeah, you're not getting away with that shit.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere on a report where like you could rob banks 2 times.
That's about it.
But then after that, like, they learn your MO. There's going to be something. They create a profile, and there's something that they're going to find where, like, after that 3rd time, if you get lucky and you get that 3rd time in, you're narrowing your odds significantly each time after. So
exactly, because now they're going to start putting a bunch of information together to narrow shit down. Oh, he only strikes around this time of day. Okay. He only does these types of banks. Okay, so they're gonna narrow it down, and boom, got your ass. Yeah, I think the craziest bank robbery, though, off topic, was the ones in L.A. when the guys wore the fucking body armor.
Shootouts in the early 90s? It was early 90s, right?
That's what banned the. That's when L.A. banned machine guns,
and that's when cops realized that just having shotguns
and pistols
wasn't gonna do it.
Yeah, because remember they fucking confiscated all the guns from the gun store.
And what? Then what were they? They were using revolvers still then, right? Yeah. There was that early in the 90s, so they were using 6-shooter fucking revolvers and like shotguns that maybe had like a 5-round max.
Yeah.
And these guys were wearing body armor and shit and like steel plates, like you weren't getting through.
Were they using AKs?
Yeah, they were using They were using, I think, full on automatics for that. But let's stay on topic, man. We'll get to the. Well, we could do a story on that later on. What was the biggest shock to you? Well, not biggest shock. What did you find the most disgusting thing?
The most disgusting?
Yeah. Out of all the killings and stuff that he did or said, what was something that you found to be like just the most disgusting fucking thing that this guy said or did?
Said or did? I don't know. To me, the most disgusting shit was the incest between him and his mother. Like, she waits for him to get home and then fucking tells him to come to her room and then gets naked and lay in the bed cuddling him while he fucking sucks on her titties.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty disgusting, and he never admitted to anything more. But
that's your grown
do you
ass
think?
son.
But do you think they actually hooked up?
Of course.
This
if
is
you
my
went that far, like, yeah.
And this is my theory of why I think they did. Because right before his mom died,
Weird.
she got over the having the kid thing because she was pregnant, or she thought she was pregnant. It was actually her liver like expanding and her dying of cirrhosis
at the age of 49.
Yeah. So I think, I agree with you. That was pretty gross.
Yeah.
And then just some of the thoughts he had. He was talking about like how it just made him fucking come immediately just from choking a female out and stuff like that. Like I was like, damn. Like how twisted you got to be to get off that bad? You're choking someone, seeing the life leave them.
I'm telling you, I believe this wholeheartedly. Someone who was done dirty and was buried in that cemetery possessed him, dog. Like, cause that shit ain't adding up. Somebody came back with a vengeance on Earth, and they carried out their plans through him, dog. Cause that shit don't make no sense. I mean, as fucked up as his family was, I don't think they were that fucked up. To where you just like on sight, you choke someone and you busting? Like, come on, dude. Like, that's crazy.
I mean, look, it's the same person that his grandparents tried to pretend that they were his actual parents. They let him get his ass beat by what he thought was his
brother,
fucking brother, who ended up actually being his father. Like, his mind was mentally fucked from the start. I don't think he ever had a chance to
he didn't
be good. Like, I don't think it was never an opportunity for him.
There was never a slither of normalcy in his life.
Except for maybe the like 6 month period or whatever that he was married and wasn't doing shit.
Well, that bitch was probably batshit crazy too, because look at what she does later down the road.
No, she was
got
crazy.
Her shit beat, not like in a good way, you know, like not like how we like to beat them cheeks up. Nah, she literally got her shit beat like damn near one of his victims. Then she decides to leave because her family tells her to leave, and then she spins the block and goes back.
Goes right back around.
She disappointed me. I said, "This bitch."
I see you still got some stuff here too. What else you got for us, man?
That's pretty much it. You know, that's pretty much I already said everything. I remembered it.
You memorized all this shit.
Yeah, I remember.
We touched on a little like tight writing here.
Yeah, it was just It was just the bullet points of the main shit. You know.
All right. Well, I have some bullet points as well. When it came to his capture and the gaining the confessions from people, the three real main catalysts that helped fix a lot of these problems. We brushed on Mitzi Roberts.
Yeah.
So some fun facts about Mitzi. We already mentioned that she was a bartender and she owned a diner or two in the area, right? There's an author by the name of Michael Connolly, and some of you probably, if you don't read a lot of books, you at least have probably heard of the show Bosch.
Yep.
So he was the creator of Bosch. So one of his characters that he made in his books and also had appeared on the show Bosch is Renee Ballard. And Renee Ballard is basically Mitzi Roberts. So he created a character after her.
Really?
In fact, there's even times where when they were filming certain episodes of Bosch and Renee Ballard would be involved in that episode, Mitzi would be there on set so that way she could kind of help say, oh yeah, this is how I did this and how I did that, and kind of like throw her personality onto the actress so she could act out the who she
Which one
is.
was Mitzi Roberts?
Mitzi Roberts was the one that became a police officer because she would talk to officers at the bar and stuff like that.
Yeah. So she, yeah.
She
she's the
worked at
one that-
Rampart, and then she kind of worked her way up, and yeah. So that was Mitzi. James Holland, the Texas Ranger. The Los Angeles Times did a profile on him in 2019, dubbing him the serial killer whisperer. Right?
It's a creepy name.
60 Minutes did an episode called The Ranger and the Serial Killer. Okay. The show 48 Hours, they actually had him featured on 2 separate episodes. They had him on one in 2020 called The Murder of Jackie Vandercliff, and another one called The Plot to Kill Jamie Faith.
Okay.
And that one was in 2022. There was also a 6-part podcast series called Smokescreen, Just Say You're Sorry. And that was in 2023. That was the Larry Driscoll confessions, where he confessed to a murder and then later admitted that he doesn't even remember confessing to it. Like, that's how mind fucked he was, which I'm actually curious for us to do maybe an episode on that down the road, because there were certain tactics and things done then that probably wouldn't fly today, like you doing hypnosis on people.
Oh yeah,
shit like that.
You know,
So
it was different times.
yeah.
Boy.
So I kind of want to do a video on how people came across certain convictions and stuff back then when, you know, shit wasn't right. And then Jillian Lauren, the crime novelist that not only solved one of the Jane Doe cases in LA earlier, but she was the one that she was interviewing Mitzi Roberts for the Black Dahlia case.
Okay.
And then that's how she discovered Sam Little and, you know, started talking to him.
It's an interesting case. Like, once you hear it and get just a little bit of details, you're like, what the hell? Like I said, is the shit he did. I mean, it's 3.5 decades of murdering women. And like I said, he didn't do anything special. Like he
just got lucky.
He didn't a lot of times. Like, he didn't have a system in place, and he disposed of the bodies in a professional type of manner. No, he just took them out in the middle of nowhere, strangles them, rapes them, throws them by the side of the fucking road like a piece of wrapper or something, and drives off. That's all he did. And he did it for 3.5 decades. It's crazy.
So a little bit more on Jillian also. Jillian Lauren. So she used to do, after, you know, becoming pen pals, visiting, talking on the phone, with some of the things that Samuel would tell her and stuff, she kind of went along with a lot of things, even though it kind of made her sick to her stomach, like doing things like wearing fishnet stockings when she'd go to visit him, right? And I don't think I mentioned that in any of the episodes, but that was one of the things. She was also, and this is going to be like disgusting, because again, Samuel at this point, he thought that they were friends. He really thought that her and James Holland were like her only 2 friends in the world, right? Even though James Holland like helped add on other convictions.
Oh, bringing that part up. I think that was one of the sickest parts too of the story, is when he said that if these women were not dead, that they would be friends with him.
That's twisted too, yes.
Nah.
My motherfucking no, they not. They are not your friends.
They want to be your friends to begin with.
Yeah. So Samuel, again, just branching off of that and coming back to what I was talking about, he was so confused in his head that he thought they were actually friends, that he actually listed Jillian Lauren as his next of kin.
Wow, his emergency contact.
So when he died that morning, Jillian gets a phone call from the nurses, and, you know, reluctantly they're like, sorry for your loss.
Right. She's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, like she's like, okay, cool. So he left her like $1,097 that he had on his books, which I don't know how the fuck it got there. Who put money on his fucking books?
You know these.
Fuck y'all. Okay.
You know what
Whoever
it
the
is.
fuck put money on his books. Okay, it wasn't Jean. She was already dead at this point.
You know what I'm talking about, man. Just like all the rest of them, they get a fan base.
I guess
They get a
man.
following. Yeah.
So she was also tasked with tending to his remains.
Oh.
And she was originally going to have his brain donated to science.
Dump it in the trash? Nah.
Well, she was originally going to have the brain donated to, I believe it was Stanford.
Okay.
He was going to have his brain donated to science so they could study it and stuff like that. But Samuel fucked up the paperwork. So before she got the opportunity to do all that, he got cremated. So she still has his ashes like on a shelf in her garage because she was like, I don't know what to do with them.
Throw it in the trash.
Bitch, right? Like, what the fuck? Get rid of that shit. But I have another
That shit
idea.
possessed.
If she still does have it, we have a haunted museum here in Vegas, the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum. They have a couple rooms dedicated to crazy motherfuckers like that. Why not add him to the list? I don't know. I'm just saying. I actually did like email her just to see if she was fun and be like, hey, why don't you, if you still got it, why not donate the shit here?
I throw that shit aside the road like he did all those women.
So she still got some acclaim from this whole trial as well.
How old is she?
You know what? I didn't look that up, but she's older now.
Because I mean, he died in 2020.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was what?
Not even a full 5 years ago, because I think it was December of 2020 when he died.
September, was it?
I think it was December. I think it was
September 25th.
Was it September 25th or December?
September 25th.
All right. Well, he died.
No, I take it back. I'm all the way wrong. Don't listen to me.
I think it was like December 16th or some shit like that he passed away. Yeah. And
September 25th is the day he was I believe convicted finally.
Yeah. So not even a full 5 years of this guy being dead.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do still have the ashes, why not
I ain't fucking with it. He possessed. Ashes possessed. I ain't.
So Jillian also did put out a book called Behold the Monster. And it won over a dozen fucking awards for it. So the way she formulated must have been pretty good.
So all those years of her visiting him and having like a little friendship, she pretty much documented everything.
She documented everything that she could, from how she first came in contact with him, or even discovered him by, again, talking with Mitzi Roberts over the Black Dahlia case.
Right.
And the only reason Mitzi Roberts got put on this case was because that ended in a dead end.
Yeah.
Right? That's still one of the most notorious unsolved murders in history, right? So, like
her, what, John Benet Ramsey?
Yeah. John Benet Ramsey, yeah. They still never found out who the Zodiac killer was, right? So that's another thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean there's a lot,
it's a lot.
There's a lot that she witnessed and went through to get like all the information for the book.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that took a toll on her.
Oh yeah, mentally it had to have. It had to have, absolutely.
To also to not only hear the things, but to also deny yourself of your natural reaction and to go along with that shit, to play into it, to get him to open up more. Like that shit.
Yeah. Because aside from Holland, there was probably a lot of things that other agencies, when they finally started lining up to get confessions from him, wouldn't give them unless she was the one trying to elicit it from him. So it's a lot. It's a lot going on there.
It's probably if not the probably craziest cases ever.
So Mitzi Roberts, James Holland, and Jillian Lauren, when you do start to make the movie or Netflix series, whichever floats your boat, you gotta really pick like good fucking actors and actresses to fucking portray those roles, because man, that is not an easy feat.
The detective?
Both detective, Texas
white?
Ranger, Mitzi Roberts.
Yeah.
She was I think she was Oriental. Not,
Roberts Oriental.
could be white.
Get Lucy Liu.
Probably white.
Lucy Liu.
No, it's got to be younger.
Gotta be younger. You can fucking CGI her ass.
Oh my god! All right, now he's getting stupid. All right,
Yeah. Who you got? Asian younger? It's not a lot of Asian young actresses like that.
that we know
That
of.
you know can do a really good job.
Look,
What you gonna do? Watch
Listen.
some Asian soap operas and find somebody that's up and coming?
look. Like I said, I'm not even sure she's Asian.
Do your best.
Whatever. All right. So before we go off the hinges
Just talking
here,
shit. Just talking
yeah,
shit.
he's just running his mouth to run his mouth now. Which, you know, he deserves it once in a while. Do you have anything else you want to add before we close this out? Any other final thoughts you wanted to throw out?
Oh man, I'm done with this shit. I've been
He is ready to get
it's
over
taking a toll on
this
me.
sickness. If you guys have some thoughts,
Oh,
drop them.
I do have one thought.
What's that?
And I tried to come up with something, but I couldn't. So I want to leave it to you guys. Leave it to our fans. If Samuel Little was given a nickname by the news as most serial killers are, what do you think it would have been? You got any?
So here's my theory.
Yeah.
Because he killed in so many different states that this motherfucker probably can claim a couple different unsolved serial murders out
I
there.
think so. I think he got over 100.
Like there's easily like
Yeah.
a bunch of different serial names that
gotta
were
remember.
where they're like, oh, this is this series in Florida, and then you go to California, and now this is what it's called here. And
Because you got to remember, most of the stuff that they have on him, he told them. There's no way he remembered every single thing. He forgot some. A few slipped through the cracks. He probably was extra drunk one night. There's a few that slipped through the cracks.
his memory was definitely astounding
Yeah.
to the point, especially the way he was able to, like, once he was locked up, draw portraits of his victims
Yeah, that
and stuff
dude-
like that. Like
It was like he was.
that's
he
like
was a talented.
he was the Rain Man of serial killers. I don't know. I don't get it. Like that just fuck.
So what'd you think? his
Instead of
nickname
counting
was?
cards, he was counting whores. Like what the fuck is going on here?
He said, I'm doing a collector's.
Yeah,
I guess that could be his name.
It's
The,
my
the collector.
Well, I think there was a serial killer for that. But anyways,
Oh, was it?
anyways,
So what name would you give him?
um,
Say a fucking name. Come on, Destiny Child.
I don't have.
Can you make up one? Come on,
Can
witty
I-
man.
Can I? What?
Witty man.
Witty man.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
The name I just gave your ass.
What is it? Oh,
Like,
God.
you know, like witty people. I'm witty. Come on, fuck. Get with the program, dog.
He's off his rocker now. I would say that if it was coming to giving him a nickname for being a serial killer, I don't know, man. That's
I call him state to state.
state to state.
This motherfucker. This nigga went everywhere, dog. State to state. You didn't know where he was gonna end up.
You know what? How about the broken soul killer?
The news ain't gonna say that. They wouldn't have known he was a broken soul until later.
Oh, well, you're talking about now, though, right?
Well, no, I'm not saying like I'm
If
saying
you knew that all these people that were getting killed by the same people, and then you realize they're all people that are addicts, they're all
Yeah.
people that are mentally ill, they're all people that are prostitutes, broken soul
you think
killer.
the,
man.
the news would have came up with that?
No, you didn't ask what the news would come up
Yes,
with.
I
Motherfucker,
said-
you asked what I would come up with. Anyways, look, fuck this guy. Subscribe,
Fuck him.
share, and show that you care. Love you, motherfuckers. We out.